Okay, who is around? This is going to be a live Q&A on Instagram. Hey, Aaron, with casting director Jessica Jefferies, who's a really great friend of mine. Hi to everybody that's joining. My name is Victoria Atkin. If you haven't listened to our podcast, please tune in. There is 16 episodes now, season 1 and 2. And it's available on YouTube, iTunes, where else? SoundCloud, all different places, all of the main podcast places. If you want to listen to it on YouTube, it's my YouTube channel, Victoria Atkin. So yeah, today is with casting director Jessica Jefferies, who I'm really excited to talk to, and I'm looking forward to your questions. So if you have questions, please start beginning to post them. There is the question mark box here that I'm going to be checking and answering questions with Jessica. So let me see. I think Jessica might have joined. So now we've got to request her in the video. Let's see. Afternoon. Hello, everyone. Bryony's joined. Love it. Okay. So, yeah, just waiting for people to join on here. We've got lots of people joining, which is really, really great. Let us know where you're joining from around the world. I know there's some people from England, there's some people from Los Angeles, Amsterdam. So let us know in the comments below. Now, I got to find my dear friend Jessica and get her in this video. Let me see. Let me see how we do this. Here, Jessica, I'm gonna. I've never done this before, so let's see. There, hey!
I was frantically trying to find somewhere to click request, and I had no idea what I was doing.
That's right. Oh my goodness! There's my living room. I pressed that by mistake. Okay.
We're both rubbish to each other.
Great. So we got people from. I'm just saying, people where you calling from? People on Instagram from Amsterdam, representing Budapest, Los Angeles. So we've got loads and loads of fun people. Says Jessica, nice hair. Ariel says, lovely.
Thanks.
So we're here managing like new mum syndrome. I've handed Sunny over. I'm sure you've handed Sunny over. We're gonna do this and answer questions.
Josh is out playing basketball. I actually can't believe it. I've just texted him. I'm like, I take it you're on your way home.
It's all good. Hi, Victoria. Hi, Jessica from Reese Matthews.
Reese is back. Hey, Reese.
So lots of people that know you and lots of people that know me. This is good. So,
nice.
Yeah. So if anyone's got questions, let me see this little question box. Okay. Questions from your viewers. So, guys, use the question mark box below and ask your questions in there. I hope you can see that, or just put them in the comments. First of all, we'll just chat for kind of 10 minutes about our experiences, and then maybe we'll take some questions from you guys. So we've got quite a lot of people joining us live now. Oh, Josh has joined us. He might not be home, but at least he's on Instagram.
Should I just like put the phone to Sunny so he can see him?
Yeah.
Please keep
Bryony says, hello, lovely ladies. Victoria, I've been loving the podcast, binge listening. Demetrius is joining. Hello from Missouri. Nice. Hey, Brandon.
Oh,
great. So do you want to talk about, like, maybe both of us can just discuss how we got into this crazy world of performance capture, because a lot of people are brand new to what this is. I'm sure there's people on here. I know there's a lot of people that know what performance capture is, but maybe haven't worked in it yet or want to work in it. Do you want to, from your, I mean, we talk about this on the podcast, but do you want to talk about how you got into it? I think we've discussed that before, but briefly, and then what you would describe it as. And
yeah, sure.
Josh is on my way. Hurry up, Josh.
It's okay. He's sleeping, Josh. We're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's one of those kind of annoying things, because it was just right place, right time with me getting into motion capture. I'd graduated from drama school. I went to East 15 acting school. And my agent at the time was based at Pinewood Studios and handed my CV to a studio that was based there at the time.
Yeah.
And they had a job come up where the game developer asked them to send them a few different girls that could possibly do this role for a demo, a week-long demo for a video game. And they got sent a few different girls' CVs, and they chose me out of the people that they got. And so then,
did you know what performance capture was when they gave you the job? Or did
really,
you just learn like I did when you got in the volume?
Yeah. And I mean, it was 2010, maybe end of 2010 or beginning of 2011. So it's quite a while ago. It was before it really was known about hugely. It was definitely something that was never touched upon in at drama school or anything like that. I didn't know anyone that was doing it. So in that first week, I was working with an actor called Tony, who was like one of the veterans, him, Ollie, Gareth. If you've done any mocap workshops with the vaults and stuff, you'd know all of those. So I was lucky to do my first week of work with him. So I just wrote loads of notes, and he just gave me little tips of how to mocap, basically. And what was amazing was that job then turned into full game. Can you hear that? I'm trying to pop you up and now I'm worried that I can't.
No, you're right.
So yeah, that's basically, so it turned into the whole game then after that. So
it's interesting. And so your audition was mainly because you did motion capture, right? That was a lot of what you did. And for anybody that's not aware of the difference between that and motion capture, is the motion, which is the physical side of things, and not including the voice and facial capture, which is different to my first experience, which was full performance capture with the voice and facial capture and motion capture. So and again, like Jessica, I've done a bit of everything. I've done just facial capture, I've done some motion capture. It's interesting. And we were talking again about crediting actors for when you do motion capture and things like that. It's just such an interesting medium that's evolving all the time. But I do think, I don't know about yourself, but there's still, even with quarantine happening, these projects are still being made and things are coming through. I'm certainly getting auditions and calls for different projects that are starting back up again now. So I do think that this is, now with quarantine as well, they're going to be using performance capture a lot more.
Social distancing is possible in the studios. And you don't need to, for every project, you don't necessarily need all performers there at the same time. You can shoot people separately and put them to post, because it's data that you're capturing. So that's what's exciting about it. Obviously there's some things, my baby's waking up.
That's all right. I can hear someone shouting, he's having
dinner. So there's fight scenes or scenes that might have some sort of intimacy, and that's obviously where it becomes difficult to film on your own. But there are absolutely ways. Josh is
back. And Josh has been directing this week, right?
Directing, So that's been really interesting. He's been exercising, so there's no way that I'll be able to convince him to come on and say hello.
We'll do another Instagram live with him.
So he was on set last week, so that was his first time back directing in this sort of post COVID. Here he is.
Hi.
Hello.
Congrats on your directing this week.
Thank you. Very strange
with quarantine.
The baby's so yeah, him being able to go into a studio at a safe distance, have to get close, they did use one actor at a time, everything was very safe, everyone.
Someone put my battery twice. Not sure if it's one of your devices. I have full battery with you.
I've got full battery.
So maybe somebody else. Somebody's got a low battery. Not us. That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was strange, I'm sure, for everyone there, but it's possible. And once you get used to it, you know, it's this whole new normal that's going to
Yeah, I think everybody's learning how to do things. Certainly, I'm talking about voiceover. I'm having to engineer my sessions, which I've never had to do before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anything else you want to say before we start getting into questions?
No. I don't think
There is
so.
a buzzing coming from Victoria when she speaks. Oh, that sucks. I don't know why.
I don't have that.
Yeah, I have it a bit. I will just hold the. Sorry about this, guys, but that's part of it. Jasper said, I would love to know how one of you has been both sides of the table. Is there anything you wish you knew when you first started out?
Oh God, loads. So mainly in terms of acting in general and the acting industry, I wish I'd have realised that casting directors and producers, etc., are normal people and just want you to be really good and want you to enjoy the audition process as much as you do. Like, I was always so nervous going into auditions, and I really wish I wasn't. And the one thing that I want actors to know when they come into the room with me is that it's all that the audition is a process in itself. So don't come in thinking you know everything. And the reason for that is because a lot of the time the character brief that you would have seen is probably not accurate to the actual project that we're doing, because we can't let out details of it because there's going to be so much secrecy, especially in video games. So if you're thrown a bit of a curveball of a new bit of direction, you need to run with that. Don't have this character locked in your head and be like, no, because actually you don't know this character, and you also don't know where its journey is going to lead in the video game. So I want people to be flexible. Is if you can take direction and run with it, then that's perfect. That's the main thing that I look for.
Yeah, that's a good question, Jasper. Is my sound still off? If anybody, let me know in the comments. Hopefully, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to ask the question, so it's not too bad. How often do you get the opportunity to cast actors from overseas?
Personally, not that often for me. We have an amazing pool of actors here in the UK, and normally when people are filming here, they're happy to take from the pool of actors here in the UK. Logistically, if you think about it, they're able to save money of flights and visas and accommodation and all of those sorts of things for those actors. So it is rare. What's more common is that studios that are based in Europe or somewhere else may well contact me and ask for British actors that can film in Europe. So that sometimes happens. But I'm yet to be specifically requested to get actors from abroad or from the States or Europe to fly over for the UK. It makes the audition process difficult as well, although no more difficult to how it is in lockdown. But you know, it makes it more difficult because you can't meet with people in person before giving them a job.
I have a question. You might not want to answer this, but you want. What do you think about agency?
I knew that would come up. I'm not affiliated with any agency. As a member of the Casting Directors Association, I'm not allowed to be affiliated with any agency. I can't show preference to any agency. And for me, the only thing I will say is that motion capture is an acting job. So in my experience, most actors have gotten their work via their theatrical agents.
Yeah. My other question, how would I know if I go for a kid role for PCAP, or do you bring children in?
That depends I've cast both. The reason that maybe we would have an adult playing a role of a child is for licensing, because you'll be able to work full days, and there may also be some content in the filming that's not appropriate for children, whether it's violence or maybe bad language. So rather than having to work around that and really plan for having a child on set, then we'd get an adult. Also, if it's a quick turnaround, we would be more likely adult, because licensing, etc., takes a certain amount of days and weeks prior to a shoot for a child. There's pros and cons to both. I believe that throughout our lives we hold ourselves very differently depending on our age, and I think children move in a very specific way, and I think it is difficult for an adult to grasp that and hone it and make it cool. So
yeah. Let me ask, when self-taping for performance capture audition, how important is it to be physical? Best to submit a close-up shot or a long shot? And can you repeat that question so I can hear it, because I have feedback, I think.
what was that question? Sorry.
That's all right. About self-taping. Is it important to be physical? Do you want a close-up shot or a long shot?
Yeah. So when self-taping, I normally give quite specific direction in notes. So I'll send like a document with the script and some direction and stuff. But for me, more often than not, I will want to see your full physicality, as that's what we're capturing on set. Obviously, that changes if the project is actually all going to be shot close up, and we know that. Maybe it's a VR project where we're really looking at the character's face. But more often than not, I want to see your entire physicality. So a wide shot is normally what I request.
Do studios film in-house? Is it a good idea to send them the reel directly?
Some do, especially for single day jobs. Some studios are still casting that way. It's down to the game developer and production company, really. They will either go down the route of just going straight to the studio and saying, can you just give us a few actors for the day, or they'll go via a casting director, and the casting director will get the cast together and then take that cast to the studio. So
I'm just going to try and get some headphones so I don't have feedback.
Yeah.
One second. Keep talking. Oh, Mickey Mouse.
Into you all or something. Uh-oh. Tom's joined. Hey, Tom. Michaela. Oh, look. There's loads of people that don't care about my job, but I love you all. Thanks. When it comes to movement, does it matter if it's not from... No, movement
How's
reel.
that? I think that's better.
That sounds better for me. That sounds good.
Is that any better, everyone? I hope so. I can still hear the feedback. Oh, well. Carry on, sorry.
I can't hear any. Yeah, you sound great to me. Movement reels, for me, as long as it's clear, like as long as the footage is clear, I don't care where the footage has come from. It can be from rehearsal or anything else, but what I'm looking at is your physicality, is a specialist skill or whatever it is that you're trying to show me. Just make sure that that is clear. Nowadays you can shoot with 4K on an iPhone, so you're always going to get good quality. The only time that it's a little bit dodgy is when people film live performance in theatres, because it just never comes across right in the sound, and the quality is normally pretty dodgy in a theatre. But in any kind of rehearsal space, it's yeah. Is that a shark?
Yeah, it's a shark. I'm trying to figure this out. Anyway, unfortunately, it still has feedback, but it works. Jessica, repeat your questions.
Okay.
All right. Trying to get off this now. Okay. Question, Susan. A lot of studios seem to are located in countries where they have borders closed for COVID. What would you know? Would you know any studios or teams that are? Oh, here's the question.
There you go.
I don't see the rest of it.
No, I can't see the rest. Studios seem to be located in countries that have their borders closed, but some, if you're talking about game developers in this instance, there are a lot of game developers that are based around Europe where, you know, they're not traveling to the UK, but they are doing remote shoots. So the studios here, Imaginarium, Audio Motion, they are running shoots with the clients being remote. And that's actually, I think, going to be the way for a little while, so that shoot there's only a skeleton amount of people, so that there's the client there, the director, the actors, loads of technicians, you know, like what we're used to in a buzzing set with lots of people, I don't think is going to be the normal for quite a while. So I think that's why it's still totally possible and why filming is still happening, because directors, etc., are often just Skyping in and watching.
See, okay, keep the questions coming, everyone, because there's no more left now. So, what else? What else should we talk about? How's oh my God, this situation.
So, just going back to basics, really, of as you were saying at the beginning, the differences between performance capture, motion capture, and everything like that. So, one thing that you need to make sure of is that you understand all of the differences and how it's going to be, and how your performance is going to be used. So we've got full performance capture, which normally encapsulates your body capture, often your voiceover taken at the same time, and facial reference. And I say that facial referencing is using the movement of your face captured by a head-mounted camera and mapping that so that your face drives an animation, drives a different character. I say that it's facial capture when that character is also going to look like you, when they've also scanned your likeness. So that's when the character will look like you as well. You can have any number of those things put together, and you can be hired for all or any of those. So there was a number of times when I was hired as an actress as just the body capture, and I was hired to be the body capture for someone else's voice. So I would perform and I'd hear the voiceover while I was performing, and that's how I would embody someone else's voice, and that's a skill in itself. So that's where you're looking at as well. It goes back to that credit thing of like, well, then that's two actors that should be credited for that same role.
Yeah, I was talking about that because the new Horizon Zero Dawn has come out, and I said I'd done a bit of work for Aloy on the new game. But then people were saying, oh, you do the motion capture for Aloy. So no, I don't want to say that I do, but I just did a couple of weeks on it, you know, so it was an honor to do that, but Ashley's done most of it. But it's this awkward, and it shouldn't feel like that, but it's this awkward, like, I did a bit.
I think it's because there's just not much understanding. So
because you did some, didn't you, in the first game for Aloy?
Yeah, I did, so Ashley did the voice, and then Amanda Ferry did all of the body capture. So all of the cutscenes were done for the first Horizon Zero Dawn here in the UK. All the cutscenes, they were done by Axis Animation. So I did just a bunch of other female roles.
Yeah.
I cannot remember any of their names.
That's funny. So just a couple of more questions before we finish up, because it's going to do 30 minutes on this today. Would you advise people wanting to get into mocap to have a voice reel too?
If you want to do voiceover.
If you want to do full performance capture, then you would have it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect someone to have a separate voice reel to get full performance capture work, because for me, full performance capture work is just on par with a normal acting.
They'd have an acting reel.
So an acting reel is what I would look at for that. I wouldn't necessarily need to hear a voice reel separate.
Yeah,
voice reels are good if you have an interest in getting into voice work specifically.
Yeah, Ellen says, what's your favourite part of performance capture, or motion capture? What's your favourite part?
My favourite part when I was acting was always that I would get cast as characters that I'd never have gotten cast in theatre or TV.
Did you say that in the podcast that you played like a Russian man?
Oh yeah, I played a massive Russian dude, which was hilarious. I didn't audition for that. I just got it. They just knew that would be good.
They knew you could do that.
Yeah, just saw it. Yeah, like you know, getting cast as, so in Until Dawn, I played this like sassy valley girl, like blonde, teenage, like full of action. Never have gotten cast as that, because that's not what I look like, and it's not what people would associate me with. And there's so much immediate judging in the rest of the industry on what you look like that just isn't there in performance capture, and that's what I love. You can
it's great.
Completely open because you're looking for an essence of someone.
Let's see, this is a last question. Sorry if I haven't got to your questions, everyone. If you were starting out in the mocap industry during this time with no agent or experience, what would you do?
I'd make sure that I had a hold of the brand that I want to be seen as, my skill set, who I am, what I'm offering the industry, and I would package that up well. I'd make sure that I had show reels to show off my acting, to any specialist skills that I've got, combat, gymnastics, anything like that. And I would contact casting directors. I'd look at who's casting what at the moment. I'd play loads of games. I'd watch loads of films. I'd follow people on Twitter, follow game devs, follow producers, production companies, casting directors, and see what's out there and what's getting made. Because actually the main thing that you want to do is go to people, approach people, knowing what sort of work is out there. Because when I started, there wasn't a lot of female roles out there. And then all of a sudden, you know, now look at the amazing roles that you're getting. You know, there's stuff being made. And so if you know the companies that are making these sorts of games and the sorts of characters that are out there, then you know how to pitch yourself for them.
Yeah. I have a quick question. Social media, you said about that. As a casting director, I mean, I'm sure you get approached all the time on social media. What's the sort of things that you enjoy receiving? Like, is it personal comments about your life, or is it ask questions about the industry, or like what do you? What stands out?
I don't mind questions at all. I really try to stay on top of. I like.
What do you not like? Maybe it's easier.
I don't like impersonal stuff. So I find it difficult to respond when people are writing a sort of dear sir or madam and have no reason to be contacting me, as if I could be any casting director in the whole world. What I really like is when someone has an interest in the sort of work that I do. So they're because they've got an interest in performance capture or skins work or creature work or something that they know that I also work in. And I've only just started to put anything remotely personal on my Twitter, and the reason for that was because during this lockdown there has been a real expectation, I think, of people to be very active and give a lot of their time for free. And I was being asked to do a hell of a lot of stuff, and my baby a week before lockdown. So for me there was a bit of like, hey guys,
this is what's happening.
I'm kind of busy. So and I also found that as soon as I opened up a little bit, people opened up to me, and I hopefully became more approachable because I became a bit more of a real person.
I think that's what's been really helpful about all the casting directors getting on there. It almost takes that pedestal effect away for actors to be like, actually, they're normal people and they're struggling with this as much as we are.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I love people saying hi on Twitter.
Yeah, that's good.
The only thing I will say is I'm a bit the one rule I have is that Instagram for me is private. So
yeah,
my Instagram handle is private. It's all just pictures of my baby that my family across the world can see. But Twitter is where I love to chat to people. So follow me on there. And that.
Cool. And the last question is just how can they send their materials to you, or how does that happen? Via your website, there's information, right?
Yeah. There's my email address on my website, or just send it to Jessica at jessicajeffriescasting.co.uk. Tell me a little bit about yourself. I will always watch every reel. I will read every email. I look at every CV. And I have a little database where I keep everyone's name so that every casting that comes in, I just have a look down my list. The main thing I will say as well is that I put every breakdown on the Spotlight link board so that all actors that are members of Spotlight can see that and they can submit themselves.
So great.
So if you've sent me your stuff in the past and you see a breakdown come up, make sure that you either send me a little email or state in the suggestions box, oh, hey, we chatted, or I've already sent you my CV a couple of months ago. Here it is. I'm really perfect for this role. Like, feel free to give me a little.
So you can go back to your database.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry about the feedback from my end. I'm not sure what that is. I'm just using my phone. Did this the other week and nothing happened, but as with everything, there's lots of technical things. Thank you so much, Jessica.
I managed to get on this thing. I was like, I don't know how to do this.
And thank you for everybody for your questions.
Thank you, Victoria.
Yeah, big love. To see you soon. And thank you everybody for joining.
Bye.
Bye. See you later. Bye. See ya.